when people meet me for the first time, they automatically see 3 identities. That I'm blind, I'm Muslim, and I'm a woman. And with these 3 identities come assumptions. There's assumptions about my disability, what I can or cannot do. There's assumptions about my faith, what I believe in or not believe in. There's assumptions about my role as a woman in society. That's human nature. We meet someone for the first time. We size them up within the first 7 seconds. We attach labels, and to those labels, we attach assumptions. And many times, unfortunately, these assumptions can be very disempowerment and also intimidating, causing people to hide one or more of their identities. That's why you can see blind people in countries like Lebanon, where my parents are originally from, not using a white cane because they don't want to be identified as having a disability. That's why you can see Muslims in America afraid to pray out in public spaces because they're afraid to be identified as Muslim. But it's so important that we bring our whole authentic self and that we're proud of all of our identities, because only then we're able to tap into our full potential. I am proud to be blind. I'm proud to be Muslim, and I'm proud to be a woman. My blindness has given me the creativity, the resilience, and the perseverance in life. My Islam has given me the strength to see the beauty in this world and to tackle any challenge that comes my way. My gender has shown me the power, the balance between strength and love. I would not exchange any of my identities for anything. This is because of what I've been able to accomplish so far, because of who I am. But how do we get every single one of us to be proud of all of our identities? And we bring our authentic self to every space that we are in. I'm going to take you through my life's journey. I'm going to dissect one of my identities, my disability identity. I'm going to show you how I've been able to see the beauty behind my blindness, how I've been able to let go of society's expectations and assumptions surrounding disability, and how I've been able to impact my life and the community around me. When I was 7 years old, I woke up one day, and my world was completely altered. I had lost most of my vision. But it was the reaction of those around me that gave me the strength. My parents did not allow society's expectations and assumptions to impact the narrative that they created at home. They never allowed me to utter the words, "I cannot do this because I cannot see." They encouraged me to be proud of who I am. They pushed me to tap into my potential. And because of that, I was empowered to pursue my own life and dreams. Because of that, I was able to major in math in undergrad, a very visual subject. I was able to start a nonprofit organization. And I was even able to hike and slide down a volcano in Nicaragua. And this is all because I was given the space and support to believe in who I am. But that's not the reality for most kids with disabilities out there. During my annual summer trips to Lebanon growing up, that's when I felt like my blindness was a disability. The intense, pitying, charity narrative that disempowers you, that makes you believe that there's something wrong with you, that makes you feel like you have to hide something. And that's the narrative that most kids with disabilities are living. Let me tell you a story. I met a kid a few years ago named Omar in Lebanon. He was 12 years old at the time. His mother abandoned him when he was a child, when he was born, because she found out he was blind. His grandparents who are taking care of him are trying to find a way to get rid of him. He's never been to school. He doesn't leave his home. He doesn't talk to anyone. And he's literally sitting in a corner doing nothing. And this is all because society projected its own expectations on what he can or cannot do. And this is one of many stories across the globe. There are 1 billion individuals in this world with a disability. That's 1/7 of the world's population. And that ratio does not even come close to being represented in any of our spaces, including here. Why is that the reality? Why is it that we don't think twice when we don't see people with disabilities out and about in our communities? Imagine how much potential is being lost. Much of that is because of the stigma associated to the label of having a disability. People with disabilities are either not seen, they're an invisible population, or at best a charity case. The lack of value, the poor expectation, disempowers a big population, marginalizes them in all sectors, ranging from health to education to employment. Let me give you a small example. The blind specialized schools in Lebanon remove most of the math and science curriculum from the high school classes because they assume you're blind, you cannot see, math and science, it's very visual, there's no point, you can't do it. If my sister, who's also visually impaired, and I grew up in that narrative, I wouldn't have been able to major in a subject that I loved dearly. And my sister wouldn't have been able to complete a PhD in computational chemistry. So imagine how much potential is being lost because of what society is expecting, the lack of expectation of the disability population. And unfortunately, because these kids with disabilities are living in that narrative, and this is the only narrative that they know, they start embodying these poor expectations, and they start believing what society thinks they can or cannot do. And it becomes a vicious, disempowering cycle. And that's why I founded Empowerment Through Integration, ETI, a nonprofit that seeks to change the narrative surrounding disability, to disrupt that vicious cycle, to disrupt the poor expectation on all levels, from the societal level and the individual level. And that's why our programs start with a life skill training, where we take kids, blind and visually impaired kids, who are expected not to be able to walk on their own, not to be able to make their own sandwiches on their own. They're not expected to do anything on their own. And we come in and we provide them the simple tools, like using a white cane, so they can actually be able to walk on their own and navigate the world on their own. Through these simple tools, they're able to be independent. They're able to be proud of who they are. And they're confident enough to believe that they can impact their own life. And they realize that the limitations that they have is not because of their disability, and it's because of society's expectations. But we take that a step further. We don't want them just to impact their own lives. We want them to believe that they have the potential to also contribute to society. So we have a social project program where we bring together blind and sighted kids, kids with and without disabilities, and they participate in community service projects in their own towns. One of the participants, Serene, she came up to us after completing the recycling project, and she said, I never thought in a million years that I would be able to contribute to my society. I always felt that I had to be on the receiving end. That was the only expectation I had, because that was all that was expected of me. You changed my life because you believed that I can make a difference. All it took is giving her the space and the support to believe in who she is. That's all that it takes. So this message is not just for people with disability. It's for everyone. Every single one of us, every single identity, and all the people that we interact with on a daily basis. We've all straddled both sides of the experience. We've all been disempowered at one point in time because of one of our identities. But someone came along the way, discredited that notion that we were less worthy, and believed in who we are and helped us see our potential. But I also guarantee that every single one of us have disempowered someone, unintentionally. We all embody isms, racism, sexism, ableism, without even knowing. And we project our own preconceived notions on someone without knowing them, preventing the true potential to come out. This is for everyone. Intel did a survey at a high school in Oakland, minutes away from Silicon Valley, minutes away from Facebook and Google. And they asked the teachers, how many of them believe that their students can succeed and go off and work in a company like Google and Facebook? Guess how many said yes? Only 14%. So imagine being a student and you have a teacher that does not believe in you, does not believe in your potential, does not believe that you can succeed. You're then disempowered to go down the wrong path, and the potential is lost. So imagine how much potential is being lost on a daily basis across the globe. We are all in position of influence, whether we are parents, teachers, neighbors, employers, and we all create impact on a daily basis, whether positive or negative. You don't need to start a nonprofit organization to create positive impact. It's very simple. Start with the people you interact with on a daily basis. Give them the space to exist and expect something beautiful from them. So my ask of you today is very simple. Be blind to the labels of society. Expect something beautiful from yourself and expect something beautiful from everyone around you. Thank you.